What is up, guys? Aaron here to do a magical musketeer deck profile. Until YCS Pasadena rolls around, I'll probably not update the deck, but this is after Max comes out, so let's just get started with the video. Starting us off, we got the good old 3 Caspar, 3 Kid Brave, 3 Doc, and 3 Starfire. These ratios haven't changed from the last few deck profiles just because these are the best ones to run, so yeah. In terms of why the deck is so consistent, effectively any one of these cards can be used to start you off. Starfire works with everything except for Pot of Duality, which I'll explain why I added it back in again. And then Casper just works with everything, period. Kid Brave works with everything if you have a Musketeer card in hand, and then Doc works with everything in the deck as long as you have spells and traps in the graveyard. So yeah. Moving on to hand traps, we're running 3 Ash. Ash is good, like it has been good forever, but like the reason why you have to run it is because it hits or it negates things that the Musketeer spells and trap cards can't. So like any special summons from deck, any discard effects that add cards from deck, like basically any card that doesn't interact with the field, you could debatably negate with Ash. So that's why you run it at 3, and that's it for the monsters, 15 in total I believe. And then moving on to spells, nothing new here. 3 Cross Dom, 3 Desires, 3 Instant Fusion, and then the 1 Upstart. These are pretty staple in the deck just because they're so generic. They give you advantage, and yeah, if they've been in like multiple Magical Musketeer deck profiles, it's basically staple. Yeah, some people run 2, but I'm a mad lad who resolves Pot of Desires twice if I draw 2. So yeah, 3 Desires is not incorrect, but I like running it. In terms of Pot of Duality, however, I added it in because it adds an additional level of consistency. Because 1, if you draw no monsters, that's a brick hand. If you have this in hand, you could try to excavate for a monster, and then if you do, you just grab it and then you go from there. Turn 1, you don't really care about special summoning, so that's why going first, this is a good pick. But as opposed to something like Ties of the Brethren, if you draw this over Ties and no monsters, this will be the better pick every game. Ties, if anything, is a win more card. This is a get to what you need card. It's a very good consistency pick. And then with Caspar, it's kind of it's basically adding 2 for free. And then if they ash you, it's like, okay, I still search. Or if they ash the Caspar, you still got your duality off, so it's good in that sense. It baits the ash, if anything. But yeah, in terms of late game, it helps you recur resources, or yeah, it helps you set up for another wave of hand traps. Like you will typically end on 2 hand traps every turn, so your opponent has to deal with that. So yeah, it helps you in the late game when you're grinding for resources. It'll help you recur more by adding something you don't need to search out, and then searching out what you do need via Doc or Caspar. So yeah. And with the advent of Max, it does conflict, but if you're playing the deck right, you can grind. Like, you can outgrind several decks. So if you go for the grind game, that is the optimal play in my opinion, as opposed to trying to go for the nutty plays with Max. So yeah, moving on to traps. We are running 3 impermanents. It's more copies of cross domination, but it's a way to safely shut off monster-based destruction card effects like Titan, or it could also deal with like any annoying effects like that one malicious hero or evil hero that negates all monster effects, so you could just shut it off and then go from there. So yeah, Impermanence is a good pick just in general. Moving on to the traps. For Musketeer, you're running just standard 3 copies of each. For Desires, you just don't want to banish 3. Some people are cutting this, but with more control decks in the format, I don't want to cut down on this. I want to actually maximize on it. So if I hard draw it, I could just deal with opponent's back row if they try to disrupt me. But in terms of one-ofs, we're running one of each of the other traps. These two keep you in the game longer. Like if they have destruction, you just activate this and then your opponent can't destroy you. But this helps you with several things. It blocks guard dragon plays because the zone you summon to during your opponent's turn becomes unusable, so you just summon it to like LP0 and then they just can't summon to that arrow anymore. And then additionally, if your opponent activates Nibiru or Dark Ruler no more, you activate this in response and then let the effect resolve. Then after everything resolves, activate Crooked Crown, summon another Musketeer from hand, and you're back in the game. And then additionally, if your opponent like sets like a bunch of Solemn Strikes or whatever, and you already have this on the field, like face up and all that, you could use it to bypass Solemn Judgment. That's pretty nuts, so yeah. But with so many graveyard reliant decks in the format, this gained a main deck spot. Striker, Salad, Orcus, and a few others that I'm forgetting to mention, but those big 3 are enough to warrant you main decking this. So yeah, that's it for the main deck. Running roughly a third for each card type. I believe 13 traps and whatever the rest is spells, so yeah. Moving on to extra deck, instant fusion targets as usual. These are just good. These two were pretty stable, but now I view Mud Dragon as stable. If your opponent tries to target you, you just summon, or if you know your opponent wants to target you with card effects, just summon this guy, then declare light, and then now all of your monsters are untargetable. That's pretty good. It shuts out strikers so hard. It's pretty great. But yeah, these are now the 3 staple instant fusion targets. In terms of like random cards, these are super poly targets if you are out of the meta loop, but you could effectively just run any 3 extra deck monsters. So yeah. Moving on to links. 3 max, that's just staple. If you're not running max at, well, max, you're playing the deck wrong. So yeah. One link Rebo for your instant fusion targets. And then Nightmare Package. If I were to cut anything in the deck, I would probably cut Cerberus because you already have a Desperado. Like, these two are good because they hit cards off the field in a way that Musketeer can't. But Cerberus already does something you can do, so that's why I would cut Cerberus, but it comes up sometimes. Like, if you already use Phoenix and you want to out something, you could still use Cerberus. And then the last 2 cards are Boral Bros, Boral Load, and Boral Sword. This is for if they summon Avermax or the Chaos Link or the BLS Link. And then this is for when you want OTK. This is your only OTK condition. You can alternatively just run, what was it? Utopia Double, but that's a brick more card, so I don't run it. Moving on to side deck. In terms of matchups, the format's pretty 50-50, so that's what my side deck look like now. But yeah, for the sake of this video, I will be proxying 3 Super Poly because I was borrowing them for the last Pasadena regionals. So yeah, but I will be playing Super Poly in the side deck once the YCS Pasadena rolls around. Starting us off with the side deck is 3 Pankratops. This is good for either back row decks or aggro decks, so that's why I'm running it. It baits out negates, like you just summon it. If they don't judgment it, you force them to lose 1 card. So yeah, like it's always gonna trade basically, so that's pretty nuts. Moving on to spells, 3 Dark Ruler No More. This is for Pendulums, this is for Thunder. It's pretty bad against Orcus, but that's why you run 3 Proxied Super Poly. You can also run Twin Twisters, but it's kind of meh at this point, because like you run enough back row hate to justify not running Twin Twisters, so yeah. But these are supposed to be Super Polys, so yeah. 3 Evenly Matched, 3 Red Reboot for back row. These are just blowout cards, and they're also hand traps, so yeah. In terms of matchups for the meta, like, debatably every matchup's a 50-50. Like, going first, you win a lot of matchups. Going second, you win less matchups. So, it's pretty even. But the thing with this deck, you do have to pilot it really well. You have to basically be like a Sky Striker player who isn't making any mistakes. And yes, this deck is arguably the closest deck to Sky Striker that can't get hit by the ban list. Because like, everything's in archetype and like, it's not that broken, debatably. But if you played Striker or, in my experience, Salamangreat, you could pilot this deck adequately and do well with it, but it's not as consistent as either of those 2 decks. But yeah, that's it for the video. Hope you guys like it. If you see me at YCS Pasadena, and if I top, I'll probably do another video recapping my matchups or whatever. But if I don't top, I'll still probably update the video and discuss why I lost. So yeah, not trying to say I will win or trying to say I will lose, but whatever happens at the YCS Pasadena will happen, and I'll just roll with the punches. But hopefully I do top, and yeah, preferably with the, like, I could run any other deck, but I do want to top with this deck at least once. So that's why I'm trying to do all of this, posting 3 deck profiles on the same deck. Showing you the record of how my deck changes. So that's why I'm doing all of this. Hope you guys like the video. And this is probably the end of this mini series for Magical Musketeer deck. So yeah. Enjoy the last video until YCS Pasadena. See you guys next time. Bye.